very positive player, Cam Gnarly. We're on the Come Up series presented by G-Nice TV.
Yeah, it be really.
I'm from the north end of San Bernardino, California.
Jesus, not a Judas that you gotta cross.
My music is melodic driven, harmony based, raps about positivity, self-awareness, growth, my community, and just always trying to understand myself better, come up as a person.
That's what draws, yeah, it'll be RPTs, ain't.
Man, shout out to the hi-hat, shout out INF, Patty Stone. I was young, I was probably like 18, 19, and my cousin started taking me to the studio in downtown Dino. You know, I just started working on music. Back at that time, I really wasn't even thinking about it too much. And it was like vlog era days, you know what I'm saying? Like we, as a group, we used to open up for like the Cool Kids and Pac Div, and we opened up for Drake before, and that was, I look at that as like the time where I was just getting my feet wet, and I was just blessed enough to be around people who knew where to be, and they would listen to me when I would say, oh, let's go open up for these guys, I'm a fan of this music. So, you know, those days were just kind of, you know, thinking back now, it's kind of a blur, but, you know, back then I was just really interested in having fun. And then I think somewhere around like 2010, 2012, we separated from the group. The group was like about over. I think I took like a year off music, and then some friends that I went to Cal State with hit me up about starting to throw events, and they wanted me to help them book the artists for the events, and they were hoping that I was gonna be like, you know, still with the group. And I was like, no, I'm coming out now as Cam Gnarly, and that was really the beginning of my solo career. Like I really like had a hand in like throwing all these shows like Kendrick Lamar at the Glass House and Don Kennedy and Currency, and I just kind of like inserted myself amongst the artists that I was a big fan of and that I wanted to be listened to in that fan base. So that was really the start of it, and then things just kind of took off from there.
I'm about the ones that fade. Play your cards right, cause
it did a lot for me. Just kind of just learning by observation. You know, being in the crowd, being on the side of the stage, seeing how artists promoted the events, seeing how like the fans would take to it, especially at that time because, you know, media these days is very popular on all phones, but back then the people behind these websites and these blog sites, they were just real music heads. A lot of them were not getting paid for what they did, so you know, we were just highly passionate about it, and I was able to take that and learn from it and see how to build a fan base and how to create community amongst the artists that you're colleagues with, like, you know, shoulder to shoulder. That's how I started building in the IE in my community.
It'll be RPTs, Angel Wings, your initial.
It came out of that thought right there, just out of necessity of like, you know, I need to be able to do this on my own, because I was always the younger homie, and now that I'm the older homie, I think back to those days where I was really just trying to forge my own path. And, you know, of course in the group we were all of different ages and some of them different races, so, you know, we would find ourselves in all these different niche type spaces. But I knew once the group was done and I still wanted to continue making music, I had to make a way for myself. So I started getting into throwing my own events. I started getting into, like, you know, helping other people throw their events and putting myself on as an opener just to put myself in front of those crowds. I wasn't even done with some of the music that I was performing, but I was just so confident in what I was working on that I had no issue, you know, like developing it in front of people at the same time. A lot of stuff I can do now just like without a second thought. It's like my second nature, being able to be a performer, promote, throw the show, recap after the show, the promotion before the show. Like, it's all a part of the system that I just kind of like got acclimated into over the years.
Check my rear view mirror, reflect.
I come from a really big family, so my foundation is really strong. I had a great childhood because I was surrounded by love. I was created in love. You know, granted, my family also navigated a lot of like crazy circumstances, and I think that's where the positive mentality comes from, because like having so many people in your family, you experience a lot of things, you meet a lot of different people, and a lot of people bring a lot of people around you as a child. And, you know, I didn't even have no outside friends until I was like 10 or 12 years old, because I had so many cousins who were like siblings to me, and you know, learning from them, from their mistakes, from their comeuppances, and like seeing, you know, I could have been like my uncle, or I could have been like my cousin, or I could have been like, you know, one of my older brothers or my god sisters, and that just kind of helped me craft like this mentality of how to navigate these situations without necessarily, you know, taking it too personal or letting that negativity hold on for too long. And I think that comes from like my grandparents and my father and my mother. Growing up between Los Angeles area and Empire, I was always back and forth. I was too loud for the IE kids, said I sound ghetto, or then I go to LA and they're like, oh, you sound proper, you talk white, you know what I'm saying? Because I went to a performing arts elementary school, so like I said, like my childhood was great. I just had like a lot of great experiences, and I felt like a firm foundation and where I could navigate. With my parents knew I was always like an artistic kid, so they would give me this free range to just get into stuff. I was, you know, I was a boy who always wanted like art supplies and stuff like that. easels for Christmas, and you know, I was buying books and things like that. I was always really interested in like my cultural history and stuff like that. And you know, that was really cultivated by my grandmother, like always sitting with me while I would draw my pictures and always telling me like, don't erase so much, like, you know, be confident in the lines that you create. And I still think about that now in the way that I do stuff, where I'm just like, I gotta be confident in how I'm doing it, and no matter what is happening, no matter what distractions are happening in the house or in the streets, like I'm always able to lean back into art. I gotta shout out, like I said, learning from observation. I've always been blessed to work around artists, you know, were very vocal with me about what they were doing and how they were navigating the business side of it. I would ask those kind of questions. And you know, I had a homie named Gypsy Mondo who was on Alpha Pup Records, which is like a distribution company, underground. You know, the main guy, Daddy Kev, like was one of the hands of mix and mastering, Good Kid, Mad City, and things like that. Like, you know, the distribution for like Kamasi Washington and Thundercat and Brain Feeder and all that. So I was always really interested in that. I always wanted high quality sounding stuff. So I really was going that direction, just I wanted my music to sound good. But then outside of that, what I ended up doing was me and Noah did a project in 2017 called Gnarly Orca, and that was like my first introduction into working with them. And in those conversations, we started talking about publishing, because you know, the difference between having your own publishing is about, you know, you're not seeing like 60% of what you could be getting. On top of like, you know, just being a registered songwriter and whatever, like that's only about 20% of it. The rest of that is just sitting somewhere in publishing, and sometimes depending on who the distributor is, they're collecting that on your behalf. So, you know, that's the way it was taught to me, and I was like, well, I want my 60%. So I went about, you know, taking my event company that I throw events with called Rad Habits Holiday, and I made that my production company. And I just went back and backtracked all my music and registered it all. And it's nothing to do, you know what I'm saying? You can take your music down from any distributing after the fact, and it all gets paid to you retroactively. And it's just something that you could, you know, you really do. It's like filing your taxes, you know what I mean? Like when I get my BMI or my some of my ASCAP stuff, or anything under Cam Gnarly at the end of the year, like, you know, it's just a part of the tax breakdown.
Days when you see me, I'm smiling.
I mean, I learned a lot. I feel like I'm learning something every day. In terms of releasing music, I always try to keep a list of the things that I liked from my past releases and things that I learned after the fact that I want to apply to future releases. And a lot of that just comes with a lot of notation. And for me anyway, like I write a lot of stuff down so that when it's time, I can go back to these pages or these notepads and be like, okay, I want to do a rollout. And I'll kind of just start picking through some ideas, because I value all my ideas, even if they're not a new one, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I can build on something that I said a long time ago and be like, oh, this is the perfect time to try this, you know what I mean? So like in this context with North and Gnarly, I already knew I was gonna do a retro rollout, because I looked at it like my first album since life kind of went back to normal after COVID, and I wanted to do a reintroduction. I wanted to take my single, The Nine, that I was known for, and turn that into a full project and let people know where I'm from and illustrate that in more ways than just one. I'm making this album that's a postcard to the world from the city, and then, you know, and then also trying to brand myself with my city and my community. That's why the cover art is like, if you squint at it, you can see, you know, you see the city in the street, and then you squint, you see me in it, and that's the intention of it. And also like the silhouette of it is, you know, my face is formed in the light. And you know, a lot of people look at San Bernardino as a darker place, so it's all like super intentional. Yeah. So then after that, I just knew everything I did in regards to the project, from every video, content, promotion, events, all of it is always going to tie back to North and Gnarly in some way. And I manifested all of that in that way. I got the Citizen of the Month award from the city of San Bernardino like 3 months after the project came out, just off of the rollout of the project and incentivizing doing things in the IE. Downtown. So shout out to my homie Ben Reynoso, shout out to the mayor Tran, San Bernardino, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was dope. I got to introduce my mama to the mayor, all this rap shit. It was a nice day. It was a good day.
Shows, yeah. On my good.
I would say believe in your ideas. If you're gonna start, if you're definitely trying to come up, believe in your ideas, do your own research, build yourself a team. But even from that, if you can't build a team, create the stuff that you want to create. And if it's pure and it's authentic, you'll gravitate people to you to want to help you and work with you. And I feel like I've always been blessed in that regard, where I'll do something that is really personal to me. A lot of the music that I make is really personal to me. So when people come to me to talk to me about it or tell me that it means something to them, like, it means so much more to me, because I don't really do stuff that's very transactional. I'm not that way, you know, that's just not my approach in life. So the people that I work with, the people that I, you know, that in a work capacity or personal capacity, like, it's always like real organic with me. So like that's what I would try to suggest to an independent artist. Like be organic, be authentic, pick something that you wanna, you know, that you wanna show about yourself and put it into your music, put it into your art. You know, build with the people next to you, and then the more you build with the people next to you, you know, that next phase is, you know, building upwards with the people next to you. You know, have the potential to take off, you know, like don't be afraid to take it to a next level. Don't be afraid to reinvent yourself. Like especially when you're just starting, you know, you may think you got it down one way, and then you learn something new about yourself, and you're you know, don't be afraid to break whatever mold of yourself that you created, because you made it in any way. Like Pac said, you change in your real life, and it should be able to reflect in your music. And if it's not being able to do that, then you should remedy that. You should find out where that disconnect is. I'm not gonna hold you, probably Biggie. Like Biggie, I studied Pac and Big, but Pac is like hella impactful to me on a personal way. But when it comes to like just rap, like somebody who's just able to like paint pictures off the bars and the flows, and that I was always enamored with Biggie style. So I would have to say Biggie. B-Dub, but always, oh Wingstop for sure. Yeah, I'm over that. I'm over B-Dub. We don't do those no more, man. That mango habanero ain't hitting no more. That's hell. I'm gonna go Popeyes for sure. A couple of spicy thighs, you know what I'm saying? Cajun fries, might even get the little shrimp pops or whatever, the little popcorn shrimp. Yeah, that's alright. Probably Speed Like Flash, because I ain't gonna hold you. I don't want to know what niggas is doing when they're invisible. I don't even want that. I don't even want those allegations on me. Like, he was in there, I couldn't see him. Like, nah. So I'd rather just be able to get in and get out fast. Look, he paused the whole question. I don't want to be invisible for nothing. Oh man, honestly I'd rather not see shit. I don't want to see a damn thing. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you don't ever just be like, damn, I'm mad I saw that. Like I feel like, especially with music too, I would hate it if I couldn't hear music anymore. If I couldn't hear the voice of my niece or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like if I couldn't hear a woman laugh, or you know what I'm saying? Like just being able to see shit is just not enough. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like music is one of the most important things in our life. So if I can't hear it, I'll probably be out. But I don't want to see none of y'all. Oh man, that's a hard question. I'm gonna just go with the blackest answer. I just want to be Static Shock. You know what I mean? Shout out to all the black characters that got electric powers. Dude, I'm going to outer space. I'm going to outer space. I be on an island and I can't eat nothing and just drink water only.
Just drink water.
I'm going to outer space and give me 2 meals while I look at the stars for 2 months and $1 million. Put me in no orbit. Put me in the orbit, man. I'm up. What's the difference between the forest and the jungle?
Alright, so the forest, you got anacondas, you got monkeys, you got like little insects but they'll kill you, slugs, all them type of shit.
Alright.
The jungle, the jungle, obviously you got the lions, the hyenas, and the giraffes, all that shit.
I probably.
You got a machete.
I got a machete. I'll probably go to I'm gonna go to the forest. At the bare minimum, if I get tired of swinging that shit, I'll climb a tree. Pretty teeth. We can cover them feet up. We gotta be outside talking. I'll get you the right sock, baby. Shout out to G9CB. Thank you for having me on. Please make sure you check out North End Gnarly. Got more visuals coming, new merch on the way, very positive merch on the way. And you know, let me know if you want me to DJ a party too. I'm DJing these days too. I'm just doing a little bit of everything. So yeah, tap in with me, CamGnarly.com.
They be really clapping in the hood, give them applause, yeah. Whole lot of sharks when it gets deep, feel like it's Jaws, yeah. Don't be come between them and all their little cats with draws, yeah. It'll be RIPTs, angel wings, your initials, yeah. All my good deeds got me karmically shining. God's favor turn my coal into diamond. She please.